Hey guys, happy Thursday. Welcome to my sixth episode of So What Now What Live TV. And tonight I'm really excited to talk to you guys about something that we women deal with a lot is just burnout and what's going on in our bodies and not taking care of ourselves and just exhaustion. And one of the things that I have experienced recently is that my skin has just gone mad and crazy, and I wanted to seek out some help from that. And I went to a special naturopath doctor, and she's great. I'm going to bring her on in a second, but I just kind of want to remind you guys what So What Now What TV is all about. So What Now What is a moment in time, a pivot, an opportunity for you to say, okay, so what's going on in my life right now? I no longer want to tolerate, so I'm going to make a shift. So what is the challenge, and now what is the solution? So the solution that I want to focus on today is kind of from the inside out, like what's going on in your body when your skin starts talking to you, or if you're not going to the bathroom, if you're not sleeping, or you can't lose weight. So we're going to bring on Dr. Erin Kinney, who I just love and adore. If I can always get this technology working. There she is, Miss Erin.
How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, tell our people what your like background is and what your story is, and what you're focused on women and this burnout and what is this stress reset expert?
Yeah, so I'm Dr. Erin Kinney, and I'm a naturopathic doctor, and I specialize in helping women to improve their mood, boost their energy, and balance their hormones. A lot of women come to me who are burnt out, stressed out, and they have some sort of issue, whether it be acne or PMS or anxiety or difficulty losing weight or insomnia. And they've been to see their doctor, and their doctor's like, oh, your labs are fine. You're just a little crazy. Go take the pill, or here's an antidepressant. And they're like, I don't want to take the birth control pill. I don't feel like I'm crazy. There's something physically wrong with me. But in a lot of cases, conventional labs or conventionally, like there's nothing really wrong, but something's not right. Like hormones are out of balance. And what's happened is stress has finally gotten to a place where it's affected the endocrine system. And that can be either the thyroid, the sex hormones, or the adrenal glands. And when that gets a little bit out of balance, my daughter,
okay, so we're all
like, at home.
Everybody's got kids home. Mine's very mad because he didn't eat his dinner. We talked about this on Tuesday night. So we talked about kids and his plan for eating. So he's pissed off at me right now. So yeah, we're all good.
So there can be kind of subtle imbalances that can start to happen, and we can chat about this a little bit more, but things like acne can pop up, and it can kind of be, your body can start to have these little signs or symptoms to kind of tell you that things aren't quite in balance. And oftentimes, like I said, general lab work will come back showing that there's nothing seriously wrong, but the body's out of balance, and that can show up in a lot of different ways. And it's specifically for women. And I think women right now, like working women, are like in it with, being home, having to work, like taking care of your kids all the time. It's basically like, and women are at higher risk for adrenal burnout kind of stuff in general, just because we wear so many roles, and we're in fight flight a lot of our life. Like we're spending a lot of time like turned on, right? Like in this, and when you're in fight flight, you're using up this hormone called cortisol, which is our stress hormone, but it's also our body's natural fix-it hormone. So it's our body's natural steroid. It's what anytime when you get a pimple, it's what your body would send there to fix the pimple, or you get a bruise. It's actually the hormone that goes and it fixes things. So when we're using up our cortisol, I like to think of cortisol as kind of like your body's bank account. It's the money that sits in your body's bank account that pretty much does anything that your body needs to do, whether it's wake yourself up so you can have energy, or fix things, or help repair muscle after a workout. So if you're spending all of your cortisol on stress, you're not going to have excess cortisol to go fix your skin, or to go fix a bruise, or to go heal the muscles after a hard workout. So, a lot of people complain like, oh, as I get older, like I'm so sore after I work out, or I wake up in the morning and I just kind of ache. Those are all signs that your cortisol levels are running a little bit low. And it's basically, we all know that phrase, like people that burn the candle at both ends. When you do that and you don't rest, because rest is when your body builds cortisol. It's when your body earns money, essentially. So when we aren't spending enough time resting, we're not putting any money into our body's bank account. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think a lot of times I've seen a lot of people posting on Facebook, like they're having the pandemic insomnia. So, what is that? What's going on there?
Yeah, so I was going to do a live. I've had a lot of patients email me about that lately. So that tends to happen. And a lot of people are saying, I keep waking up at like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. and I'm wide awake. And I'm like, why can't I go back to sleep? And a lot of times there's racing thoughts. That's because because there's so much fear and there's so much unknown right now. A lot of people we're kind of stuck in fight flight mode. So it's basically the body is like not letting itself relax. So and this is what I hear a lot. And I don't know if this is what you're experiencing, but people are like, I can fall asleep because I'm tired, but then I'm waking up in the middle of the night and I'm like wide awake, ready to go. And it's like, it doesn't really do any good right now because there's nowhere you can.
Nowhere to go. Go back to bed, people.
Go back to bed.
Your kids are sleeping. Take advantage of it.
But your system, our systems are essentially stuck in fight flight. So what happens, and this happens to people outside of pandemics. Hang on 1 second. Do you need something? Quick, Kathy.
I can't figure out how to get hands full.
Oh, can you just hang out naked for a little bit?
Yeah, naked is good.
No.
Okay, come bring the pull-up down. I might have to put a pull-up on a kid.
Yeah, you're fine. See, right now, this is exactly what we're talking about.
This is right now my mom brain is like, so we'll use this as an example. So my mom brain right now just got activated because she's not really crying, but let's pretend she's screaming. It turns on a little signal in the back of my brain, the amygdala, which is the fear part of our brain, which then sends a signal to my hypothalamus, which is in the midbrain, which then sends a whole cascade of signals to pump out cortisol and adrenaline. And those two hormones are what allow us to go and do the fight flight thing. Hang on, let me just do this real fast.
Oh, she's so cute.
You're gonna be naked on Facebook. Sit down.
Naked on Facebook.
Naked on Facebook.
Oh, good.
All right, guys. Can you guys go upstairs and read in a minute? We've got a ghost. We got a ghost and a pull up. Okay, there you go.
Oh.
You want to at least? Can you say bye so they can get your cute? This one gave herself quarantine bangs the other day.
Oh, I'm sure that can be some cortisol and adrenaline.
All right. So anyway, so you get the flood of where the cortisol and adrenaline gets flooded into the system, which allows you to then go deal with the stress. So
Right.
Kid cries, I get this whole reaction, and then I love you, baby. I'll be up in a minute. Then you get the energy that you need to go deal with whatever the stress is. Deal with the crying kid, or let's use the example that a lion is or a tiger. That's very. Has everyone watched Tiger King? A tiger.
I need to get into that. I haven't done that yet.
Oh, did I lose sound with you, Michelle?
No,
Oh, I can't hear you.
you can't hear me. Okay,
Oh no.
back in. Can you hear me now?
Back. Say again.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hear you. Oh no.
I don't know. How about now? Muted and unmuted. Can you hear me now?
What happened?
I don't know. Yeah.
You can hear me? You want me to just keep talking?
Yeah, keep talking.
Okay, I'm gonna keep talking. So anyway, tiger's chasing you, fight flight happens, you get the cortisol, you're going. What's supposed to happen is once you get safe, the cortisol goes back to your hypothalamus, which is the part in your midbrain. And there's a little receptor there, which I call it the off button. And basically the cortisol is supposed to bind to that off button and it turns off further production of cortisol. So it allows the body to get out of the stress mode and allows the body to relax. So when we're in stress mode, we're spending energy. When we're in relax mode, we're earning energy. So we want to turn off as much as we can. But what happens is when we're constantly pushing this on button, when that amygdala is constantly getting triggered. So if your kid's screaming all the time, or you're stuck in a pandemic and you're watching the news and things are constantly triggering, your body kind of wisens up and it says, why would I turn this off? She's just going to turn it on again in 5 minutes. So it actually starts making that receptor. It's called a downregulation process. So the body will downregulate the production of that receptor. So now you get turned on, right? You're in fight flight. The cortisol tries to go back to the brain to turn it off, but there's nothing for it to bind to. So it literally cannot turn off. So you're kind of stuck in this amped up mode, whether you're getting triggered or not, you're stuck. So that's, and I think that's what's happening right now for a lot of the people that are having trouble sleeping. If you want to chat with me and tell me what,
I am.
So when you're kind of stuck in that fight flight, and I'm sure everyone's been through an experience like a move or a big major life stressor. A lot of times during those time periods, it's hard to sleep. You're waking up, you've got lots of stuff going on. And it's usually because you're stuck in fight flight. So what do you do when that happens? So there are some things that we can do to make the body start creating that receptor again. One of the biggest ones is meditation. So, and anytime you can actually get the body to relax, the body will say, oh, I'm relaxed, I'm turned off, I should make more of that off button. So meditation is probably one of the number one things I recommend. And so this can look like different things to different people. Sometimes I recommend meditation and people are like, no way, that's way too, I can't do that, that's too out there, or I can't turn my brain off. I usually recommend to patients for them to lay flat for 10 minutes a day in the middle of the day when you normally would be like on, and it's pretty easy to do that right now because we're all at home. So take 10 minutes, like take a time out, go lay on your couch. If you can lay outside, that's even better, like getting the good like earthing, grounding stuff. But what this allows the body to do is it allows the blood pressure to go down, it allows the heart rate to decrease. And anytime you get in that kind of, like, as I said, off, like the turned off part of the nervous system, it allows the body to kind of calm itself and regenerate. And that's when it'll start making more of that receptor. So there's that. You can also, there's a lot of homeopathic remedies that I use in my practice that will help like upregulate production of that. And certain B vitamins, B5 and B6. But the biggest one and the biggest research that's been done is how meditation upregulates the gene that produces that off button. So I got a little technical. That's okay. But so, yes. So when it comes to weight issues, I like to think about your body like it's a house. So, and if you're constantly, like it's a house that you run. So let's say that, and if you're someone who's burning the candle at both ends and you're being busy all the time, it's essentially like you're having people over to your house for dinner every night. If you're having people come over to your house for dinner every night, what are you going to focus on? You're going to focus on keeping your kitchen clean, right? You're going to keep your kitchen where the people hang out. That's going to be clean. So thinking about like extra weight as maybe like, the upstairs closet that needs to be cleaned out. If you're having people come over all the time and you're not relaxing or you're not like giving yourself a break, you're never going to clean that closet out upstairs because you're trying to keep the kitchen clean. So this happens in the body too. The body is going to, if you're constantly running and you're going on overdrive and burning the candle at both ends, the body's going to, it's going to focus on whatever it needs to do to kind of survive. It's not going to focus on losing the extra 10 pounds that you gained after a baby or during a stressful time. So weight loss, it's super important to relax. And so one of the patients that I work with that are coming in and are like, hey, I really want to lose this 10, 15, 20, whatever amount of weight that it is. They're like, nothing I'm doing is working. And it's usually because they're overdoing it. Like they're working out too much. They're not giving their body enough calories. They're not relaxing enough. So they're stuck in this fight flight. And when you get stuck there, like physiologically, it can start to have an impact on the thyroid and it can start to have an impact on the sex hormones. But the biggest thing it does is it'll basically, I have a webinar on this, but so I like to think of your endocrine system as it's like a triangle. So you've got one point is, like I said, your adrenal gland. One point over here is your thyroid, and one point over here are your sex hormones. They're supposed to be very much in balance. But anytime one of them tips or goes up or goes down, it's going to directly affect the other two. So let's take, if my top two fingers are the adrenals and you go under stress, it's going to cause a dip in the thyroid and then the sex hormones. And when we have a dip in the thyroid, that means your metabolism slows down. So when you are under a lot of stress for a high period of time, it's going to have an impact on your thyroid. It's going to lower your metabolism. So it's going to make it harder for you to lose weight. Now, the weird thing about this is that, I get women coming in and they're like, oh my gosh, like what I used to do for weight loss doesn't work anymore. I used to cut calories and I used to, like exercise all the time, and I'm doing that. And now I'm gaining weight. And I tell them usually they need to cool it on the exercise. They need to take a nap. They need to meditate. They need to do that. And they're like, Dr. Kinney, you're crazy. And I'm like, no, believe me, you do this, like do it for a month. This happens a lot in women that are like 1 to 3 years postpartum, or if there's any sort of hormone change, like if you're in perimenopause or in menopause or postpartum, this particular issue, this weight loss becomes really, really tricky. And it's because not only are we if you've got stress and a change in the sex hormones, the thyroid's going to take an even bigger dip. And when you're restricting calories and over exercising, that tends to put your it tends to lower your metabolism. And so like whatever you are, your body kind of goes into conservation mode. It doesn't want to let go of weight for a couple of reasons. One, it's like she might not give me anymore. And 2, it's like, I'm so busy trying to keep up with everything she's doing. I don't have time to lose the weight. It's like your body literally doesn't have the resources to go and pull the fat and get rid of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Can you still not hear me?
I still can't hear you.
Okay. Maybe I should
you
call
type
you
it?
on your phone. Here.
So yeah, if you're someone who's struggling to lose weight, and I've been chatting with a lot of friends and hearing from a lot of my patients that right now they're like, oh my gosh, I'm stuck at home. I'm eating, I'm trying to be on this exercise thing and I'm trying to lose weight and I feel like even more stuck. You know, I'm with you. Like, it's a little hard to not eat snacks when you're stuck at home.
I'm calling you. I'm calling you.
You're gonna text me.
Phone.
Oh, let me.
No, I'm calling you.
I'll grab my phone.
Hey, you guys, if you have actual like questions you want,
hey, Michelle.
You want Erin
right, I can hear you. I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. If you have questions, specific questions you want Erin to answer, go ahead and type them on the My So What Now What page. Okay. All right. So the thing that's hard, Erin, is that why does your body not understand what it is you're doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? If I'm trying to lose weight and I'm doing all the right things, how does your body communicate to you that it's not what you're doing is not working?
So that's usually in whatever symptom you're having. So, you know, and this can be, you know, in a lot of the workshops I do, I explain to people that you have to start to try to understand what your body language is. So everyone's body has a different way of telling you things. So that could be headaches. It could be PMS. It could be acne. It could be, so it's any symptom that you get, your body's trying to tell you, hey, this isn't working for me.
Right.
So, I mean, this is another piece where meditation comes in, where it's really valuable to like connect in with yourself. And I find that the patients of mine that start an active meditation practice, they get more in tune with their body. So they're able to realize, hey, you know, I notice when I get a breakout on my chin or whatever that, oh, did we lose on the phone? That, you know, that means what I'm eating isn't right, or I'm overdoing it, or, you know, I think you have to start to learn what your body's language is. You know, so what are it can be cravings. Sometimes you can crave, like if you're craving certain things, it can tell you that you're deficient in certain nutrients.
Yeah.
But I think really what it is understanding what your specific triggers are, like, and knowing when you've overdone it in terms of working out too much or just staying up too late or not resting. And it takes a little while to learn what that is for you. You kind of have to start like journaling and, like I said, you have to get in touch with your body. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of women are a little bit impatient sometimes, or impatient. We're like, hey, well, I want this change now. I want to lose the weight now. So I think, you know, and with what you're doing with the coaching stuff, you know, sometimes it's hard to not get stuck when you don't see the changes right away. That's what people, you know, a lot of patients are like, hey, like I've been doing this for a week. Why am I better? Why am I not better yet? And it's like, you got to realize that the body can heal and it will do whatever you want it to do, whether that's losing weight, getting rid of acne, but you've got to give it a little bit of time. And if you have been burnt out for a long, think about how long it took you to get where you are. If it took you 7 years, you know, if you've been stressed for 7 years and you have that's what we're dealing with. It's gonna take you a few months probably to build back your level. You know, it's not gonna happen overnight. It will happen. Like, I'm a real believer that no matter what you're trying to overcome, and the body can do it as long as you take away what it doesn't need and give it what it does need. And so, yeah, so certain, you know, what you were saying, certain cravings, like for example, if you're someone that craves chocolate all the time, that's typically means you're deficient in magnesium. If you're craving salt, like if you're a salt craver and all you want to do is salt your food, that is a very sure sign that your adrenals need help. That they're not able to make enough cortisol. Yeah. So I put salt on everything, and my adrenals are always kind of like doing this. So are you calling me again?
I'm gonna voice text you.
So
I'm voice texting you,
people
Erin,
crave.
so they can hear me ask the question.
If you're wanting to create, like, that can sometimes be a sign of iron deficiency. And there are a lot of nutrients that if your body doesn't have enough of specific minerals and nutrients, it can make it, the body's not going to want to let go of fat. It's not going to want to let go of stuff. So you want to make sure that your levels of all nutrients are at optimal levels, because if they're not, then the body, like I said, the body's going to hold on to things and it can make it harder for you to recover. So the biggest things that I recommend, like for adrenal, oh, your voice texting me. Okay. So the biggest things that I find are helpful are magnesium, vitamin B5, which is called pantothenic acid, and vitamin B6, which is called pyridoxine. Those are the three biggest things that your adrenals use to make cortisol, which, cortisol is what we need to fix everything. And so typically, like if you've been stressed for a long period of time and you're having trouble losing weight, or you're having insomnia or PMS or depression, anxiety, and you're kind of in this stage of adrenal fatigue, your adrenals need the cofactors to help make more cortisol. So that's usually what I will focus on giving patients when they come in, as I focus on, okay, here are the specific nutrients that your adrenals need right now so that they can build back up to the levels of cortisol that we need you to be at. And then, oftentimes we'll run labs and check things like vitamin D and vitamin B12 and other nutrients, so we can, because if those nutrients are low, that can also affect, whatever you're trying to overcome, however we want to get you into balance. So yeah.
So when I came in to see you for my acne, we kind of discovered it was a perfect storm of a lot of things. So if people have been on antibiotics, or if we've been on, like, I'm premenopausal and I have, I use a birth control IUD, and you were like, get rid of that. And, I was on antibiotics for a while because I was traveling so much. So it was like a perfect storm. So everyone, I'm texting her so she can hear what I'm saying. I just sent it to you.
Did you text me?
I did.
I didn't get it.
Oh,
here we go. So when I came in to see you, yes. Okay. Oh, yes. We can chat about antibiotics. So there are some other like factors that can, there's obviously stress is one thing, like external stress, right? There's the pandemic that we're all living through. That's an example of external stress. There's also internal stress, which can be, I like to, anything that like is happening inside the body. And that can be a medication that you're taking. So that could be an antibiotic, that could be birth control, like hormonal birth control. That's going to affect, if you're taking any sort of hormonal birth control or using an IUD, it's back to that, endocrine thing, that's going to affect your sex hormones. Either it's going to cause it to go up or go down, which is going to have a direct effect on your adrenals and on your thyroid. So I'm not a huge fan of hormonal birth control because it just disrupts the whole balance of how your body wants to be working. And if you're taking medication of, any type of medication, some obviously they're needed, but if it's, and then antibiotics have a time and a place, but they do have an effect on your system. So they can start to affect the gut. They can put you more at risk for what we call leaky gut, which I've done a couple videos. If you guys want to follow me on Facebook, I've done a couple videos on leaky gut recently. It basically, when you have leaky gut, the cells that line your intestinal tract, they start to kind of come apart and you don't absorb your nutrients as well. And when this happens, this can contribute a lot to weight gain and or acne and or inflammation and a lot of other things, but we're talking about weight. So if you're not able to absorb the nutrients that you are eating, the body's still going to be hungry and it's still going to crave things. And so I did a video actually earlier today on stress and why it's really important to take care of your digestive tract when you're stressed, because when you're stressed and you're overeating, you're actually not absorbing a lot of the nutrients, because when we go into fight flight mode and we're stressed, all the blood flow goes to your arms and your legs and it leaves the internal organs. So we don't have blood flow in the digestive tract. And when you don't have blood flow in the digestive tract, your stomach won't make hydrochloric acid. It won't make digestive enzymes. So if you eat a steak, for example, and you're stressed, the protein in the steak is not going to get broken down into the small molecules that it needs to get broken down to in order to get absorbed. So it'll be in these large molecules in the small intestine, which you actually won't absorb. It'll just start to disrupt the flora that's there, and it can kind of cause this leaky gut situation. So if you're not digesting things in the stomach, it can start to kind of have this cascading effect where it affects the small intestine and it makes it harder for you to absorb your nutrients. And when you don't absorb nutrients, that can be a big problem. And yes, a lot of people are stress eating right now. So my tip for you guys, if you are eating, and stress eating is okay, like everything that everyone's doing right now is okay. We're all kind of trying to get through this. Before you eat anything, whether it's a healthy meal or it's 3 spoonfuls of Nutella, which has been my favorite thing lately, I recommend doing 3 or 4 deep belly breaths. So put your hand on your chest and one hand on your belly and take a deep inhale and make sure that the hand on your belly is expanding more than the hand on your chest. So you want to be getting blood flow into your abdomen. So when you do that, you're actually turning off your fight flight. You're actually putting your system back into the relax mode or the parasympathetic mode, and you're going to activate digestion. So if you're going to stress eat, no problem, but make sure you get your body relaxed before you do it. So it's not great if you're going to be, it's not great to be stress eating while you're like hyped up or like right after you exercise or right after your body's in stress mode. You want to eat when your body's in relax mode, because relax mode is when digestion is activated. And so if you eat while your digestion is activated, everything's going to work smoothly. You know, you're going to break things down in the stomach. You're going to be able to absorb them in the small intestine. You know, things are going to come out the other end that you don't need. And your metabolism is going to be good. But if you're eating when you're under stress, the whole system gets effed up, excuse me, and it doesn't, you're not going to absorb the nutrients that you wanted to get. So if you're eating a healthy meal and you're stressed, you're not going to get the full benefit of it. And then typically what happens is people are eating a healthy meal and they're stressed, and then 2 hours later they're hungry again because their body's like, I didn't actually get the nutrients from that because you didn't absorb it. Can they hear me?
Yes, I think everyone can hear.
Can they hear you?
I think yes. Okay. I think it's cool. Just you can't hear me.
Can't hear each other. And you can hear me. I just can't hear you. I wonder. It's so weird.
I wonder if you log out and log back in.
Let's come back.
Oh,
you know what? I think it might have tried to jump into my headphones. Anyways, all right, I can hear you now.
Great. Oh, that's perfect.
All right, guys.
So, no, that's okay. So I think that a lot of people, you know, when something's wrong with them, they think they want to take medicine, and then the medicine screws them up and gives them other issues. So how do you know when it's time to like take a natural approach?
So, you know, there's always a time and a place for medication. And I think the way that I was trained is that you should start with the natural stuff first. Like you should start with like diet and lifestyle. And if diet and lifestyle changes don't work, then you move to an herbal medicine. If an herbal medicine doesn't work, then maybe you go and try the medication. Our society is a little bit back, you know, most people aren't there. They say, okay, we're going to try the medication. And if the medication doesn't work, then they come to the diet and lifestyle stuff. I think, you know, if my view on a medication is, you know, if you're taking it and it's working for whatever you're supposed to be taking it for, and it's not causing you side effects and you're okay with it, then it's okay. If you're taking a medication and it's causing a side effect that's majorly impacting your life, you probably shouldn't be taking that medication. But what I often find is people are taking a medication, it's not working for what they're taking it for, and it's causing a side effect. And at that point, you definitely should not be taking it. So like if you're someone who struggles with anxiety or depression and you're taking a Prozac or a Wellbutrin or something like that, and you still have anxiety and you have no sex drive, like that medication is clearly not working for you. I have had plenty of cases where, you know, I've tried to work with someone, like they have really bad anxiety and depression. We try the diet and lifestyle stuff. We try a natural remedy and it still doesn't cut it. And then we go to a medication and that brings it down a notch and they're okay. And so that's a case where that medication, it was warranted, right? So if you're taking something and it's, like I said, it's not fixing what you were taking it for, and or it's causing a negative side effect, but then you should probably try to go look for a natural approach. And there are tons of great options, like for a lot of medications. There are, I mean,
because if I'm honest, the first thing I wanted to do when my skin was acting crazy is I wanted to like go to the dermatologist and get medicine. And then people are like, well, you know, I've known people that have done Accutane. Like I was freaking out, and I'm so,
yeah. So, and I sometimes will work with patients and they'll come in and they're like, hey, listen, like this symptom is going on. I'm taking the Western drug medication because I want it fast. Like I want this fixed, but they want to find out why it happened. And the nice thing about natural remedies is that, so like, for example, let's say that you did go and start Accutane. You still could have come in and seen me and said, hey, like I got acne. I took Accutane and it got better, but I want to find out why I got the acne. So we could, so I, a lot of cases will tell people like, hey, you know, oh, sorry, I just got a puppy. That like,
that's even more stress.
Actually, it's a great time to get a puppy. You're home all the time. So, what was I saying? I was saying that,
The medicine will heal it, but you still want to know why it came up anyway.
But the medicine doesn't heal it, and most medications will suppress a symptom, and sometimes you'll get better in the moment, but a lot of medications don't actually, like, you have to keep taking the medication. There are some medications that, like, sometimes Accutane will make acne go away forever, but oftentimes once you stop the acne comes back if we don't address the underlying cause. So I always say to people, like, hey, you can take this medication. We're going to figure out, for the next 2 months, we're going to figure out, and we're going to address the underlying cause. Then we can get you off of the medication. And so in my experience,
I lost your, oh, you muted yourself. You just muted yourself. That's all. There you go.
You actually figure out what's going on and adjust in the body. That's when that's when the body's healed. But when you have a symptom and you just suppress it with a medication, as soon as you take the medication away, the symptom usually is going to come back. And that can be a medication, or I tell my patients, if I give you an herbal medicine and you have to take it in order for that symptom to go away, then I didn't do my job correctly. Because my job is to figure out what's out of balance in the body, and I want to help the body rebalance on its own. I don't want you to have to take a supplement for the rest of your life, because if we do that, that just means you're just suppressing whatever symptom it is. We're not actually letting the body heal. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I was honestly grateful that I'm not leaving my house right now. I mean, my lashes are gone. I colored my roots today. Like, it's a hot mess.
Yeah, that's another thing we're all going to be struggling with, because we can't go get, a lot of the beauty stuff. Like,
so yeah, I mean, this is a really good time to kind of like take some inventory on what's going on in your body.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, because I've known enough to know that my skin was telling me something.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make the anxiety or the stress about, your skin not being pretty, in my opinion, feel any better. So that affects, I think that was like you said, it was a perfect storm. I probably had my cortisol levels were off because I was stressed about it. And then, the body's very crazy. And I'm, am I going through menopause? And that's like scary. Like, I'm not ready.
No, I mean, it is hormone, but in your case, like with the, you had the IUD, like you had a lot of different things. And that's usually the case for a lot of people, is there's not usually just one thing. There's usually multiple different layers that need to be addressed. And so when you take a drug, the drug is just literally, it's like hitting I don't have a bottle with me, but it's like, actually, I'm going to just grab something so I can use this as an example. So like, imagine this bottle is like a punching bag, where if I punch it this way, it's going to go like this. If I leave it alone, it'll eventually come back into balance, right? Because it's weighted at the bottom, one of those like weighted at the bottom punching bags.
Yeah.
So your body is like that. It wants to be upright. It wants to be in balance. It wants to be, sitting like this. And I always tell patients, I'm like, this is you at your best version of yourself. Your skin is great. Your hair is great. You're sleeping well. You've got good energy. Your sex drive's good. Like all of I call them like your body benchmarks, are all like how you want them to be, right? Your weight is good. Like, just think of the time when like you feel the best, right? That's when your body is upright. So sometimes life throws us punches. Let's say, you get the flu. You're now over here. You have a fever. You have chills. You have body aches. You might be throwing up. But all of those symptoms are indicative of the body trying to get rid of the flu. Like when you throw up, you're literally trying to eject whatever's in there. When you get a fever, you're trying to cook it out. So the body's trying to deal with whatever that punch is. It's trying to, come back into balance. So sometimes the punch is stress. Sometimes the punch is you're eating ice cream every night. Sometimes the punch is a bad relationship. Sometimes, so whatever your symptoms are, there's something that's punching you this way. So I'm using this analogy because a drug does this. It punches you the opposite way. So it takes away that symptom, but now you have a side effect. And so you go back into your doctor and you're like, yeah, you gave me the hormonal birth control and I no longer have the acne, but now I've gained 20 pounds and I have anxiety. And they're like, oh, no problem. Here's some Prozac, which then punches you over here. And now you're like, okay, great. Now I can't sleep, or I'm waking up in the middle of the night, or whatever the next symptom is. And you go back in, and before you know it, your body's like being punched in all these different ways and it can't figure out how to get. So I always explain that my job is to figure out like, what's this? What's punching you? Like what's causing you to be here? is this stress? Is this hormones? Is this a drug? Is this, what are all the factors, and which of those can we remove? And,
Right.
and a lot of times we can change your diet. We can change, if you've got a nutrient deficiency, we can adjust that. We can, so we can try to help and when you do that, when you take away whatever the body doesn't need and you give it what it does, the body should do this. It should come back into balance on its own, because this is where it wants to be. So, yeah, so that's kind of like the philosophy behind it. It's like we want to, we want to remove those stressors or punches or whatever they are. And I always say to my patients, the first step is figuring out what are the things that your body's reacting to. Like, and
Right.
it doesn't necessarily be a food. It can be a relationship. It can be a situation. It could be a home. It could be an environment. It could be, all types of things. So you have to figure out what could be setting you off. And that's the first step, is kind of recognizing that stuff.
Well, and I think what's
so yeah,
really important, I think it's really important is that that's why it's so important to have people like you that are looking for the cause, right? The
Yes.
actual cause, instead of just dealing with the symptoms, because that's when you get yourself out of balance and, and sick. Like,
Yeah.
I think that, so many people are trying so many things to lose weight, and you're like you said, you're just beating the shit out of your body, and your body's like, I don't know what to do. And so like, this is that you guys understanding what's happening in your body from a natural perspective is so important.
It is important.
It's so important. Because it's going to answer, especially if people have been, trying to lose weight for a long time, have back pain, have, emotional mood swings, can't sleep. Like, your body is telling you something.
Yeah. Oh, it's always trying to tell you something. I joke that the body is kind of like a toddler. And it's like, so for those of you who have kids, like, let's say that your toddler wants the blue cup instead of the pink cup. And usually they'll ask you first. If you ignore them, what will they do? They'll ask you a little bit louder. If you keep ignoring them, at some point your toddler is going to be having a full-blown tantrum on the floor because they want the pink, whatever. But so your body's kind of like that. It'll ask you or tell you in subtle ways. It'll kind of whisper, like you get an ache or pain or like a stomach ache after you eat something. If you ignore it and you keep doing the thing that it doesn't like, those, it'll start yelling at you louder and louder until, you've got a full-on diagnosis or you're in the hospital or, so if you keep ignoring your symptoms, like for example, I've got a patient who as a baby was diagnosed with dairy intolerance. Mom, didn't give him dairy for a while, but then as a kid, mom was like, oh, he outgrew his allergy. So she started giving him milk and he developed asthma, and they put him on steroids and he kept drinking milk. And then they put him on steroids that suppressed the asthma. And then he developed, Crohn's disease. And it was all like, and so we went on medication for that. They suppressed that. And it all ended up being, as I kind of untangled his case, it all went back to this dairy, and he drank milk like it was like nobody's business. He drank milk all the time. I had him stop drinking milk as kind of the first line treatment. 90% of his symptoms got better within 2 weeks. Like, and I see that all the time. Like,
that's
so
crazy.
if he had just listened to his body, and this is a pretty typical progression, like dairy allergies. What's up, baby? You okay? You can't find your blankie?
That's important.
Blankie's important. Is it out in the under there? I'll bring it up in a minute. Sorry, my kids
And we're probably going to wrap up here soon too, because but I think, so tell people how they can get a hold of you, ask you questions.
Yeah, so
jump
over to my website is drerinkinney.com, or you can follow me on Facebook. Just look up Dr. Kinney, or on Instagram, I'm just Dr. Kinney. The best thing is probably to email me. And if you're interested in a free consult, I offer free 15-minute consults. We can chat about your case, what's going on. And I've got a bunch of webinars.
Email. Do you want to put your info email up here?
Yep, you can put that. Yeah, it's info@drerinkinney.com. So shoot us an email, follow me on Facebook. I do a lot of I pop on all the time and do lives about random stuff. And when we're not in coronavirus pandemic time, I host events at my office. And
the one thing that I heard you do a webinar the other day about lymph massage. Can we close with that?
Yeah. So you've got a whole bunch of lymph nodes you have lymph nodes all over your body, but there's a whole bunch of them that run behind the ear and kind of down here. And I didn't touch on this when I was chatting about weight loss, but your lymphatic system is where the fat has to that's how the body cleans fat.
And we talked about that last week with Brian Bradley at Agascu and different positioning. So you guys better be doing those exercises.
Yeah. So one of the things you can do is you kind of go find the top of your ear, and kind of run down behind the back of your ear, and you just massage down and like underneath your jawline. And I usually like right now, because allergy season is so kicked up, a lot of these lymph nodes are like really angry, and so they can get inflamed.
Is that why
get
people
ear
get
infections
acne right here too? Because their lymph nodes.
It can be, if the lymph stuff is clogged, that can be something, or if there's thyroid issues, you can have stuff there. But yeah, I think I was saying on my video, every year around this time, my one side of my lymph gets a little clogged, and I get this really deep like ear pain. But so I'll do a like a frankincense oil mixed in with like a coconut oil, and I'll rub. I'll just spend some time rubbing there. So that's a really good thing to do.
If yeah, like, because I'm like tender right here. Is that like a?
That's just a sign that your lymphatic system is active, like that there's stuff going on in there. And this is like I said, if you have allergies, which the allergies are the pollen's pretty high right now. So these nodes are working pretty hard. But you want to make sure that the lymph system is moving. So, this is another, like if you're quarantined with a partner, like massage is a really great thing. Like you don't need to just kind of, you just want to always be going down. You can do like dry skin brushing, which is a really good thing for your lymphatics. If you just Google that, like dry skin brushing video, and they'll show you like the ways that you're supposed to go. You can do that before you get in the shower. That's really good for lymphatic stuff. But
and last question, what are the top like 3 things that you should have in your house for self-care?
The
skin brush you were mentioning, like what are like
I'd say a
things?
Skin brush would be
like
good.
Swear bys. Erin Kinney swear bys.
I mean, honestly, a place to lie down. That's like you need a place to lie down. Honestly, like, and you need something you can meditate to. Like if you are someone who hasn't tried meditation, now the universe has given all of us an opportunity where we have extra time at home. Pick up a meditation practice of some sort.
There's plenty of guided meditation.
There are plenty of guided meditations out there. It will help you get more in touch with your body. 2, it will allow, like meditation is basically sleep on steroids. When you're able to get into a meditative state, you're going to give your body more time to heal, more time to lose weight, more time to fix all of the things it needs to fix. So the more amount of time you can spend in meditation, the faster you will get better from whatever you have going on. So really, you need a place to lay down, a dry skin brush, and I don't know. That's a tough question. I mean, really,
a good meditation practice. I mean, those
are
a
good meditation practice. Like, and honestly, and the thing about meditation is it's free. Like, it's same thing with that and the breath work. I mean, that stuff is free to you. Like it
even
doesn't.
Just going outside and listening to the birds. Like it doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need a pillow.
It doesn't need
it doesn't need to be fancy. Like just quiet.
Yep. And it's okay if your mind is going. Like that's what people hear. Oh, I can't meditate. My mind's going. My mind, clearly, I talk really fast. My mind goes like 1,000,000 miles a minute. So if you're someone that your brain is going a lot, have your brain focus on something specific. Like think back to when you were a kid, and if you couldn't fall asleep, like you would imagine like counting sheep or whatever. It's a specific thing that kind of gets your brain to just calm down. So, there are lots of tips and tools. It doesn't matter. There are many ways to skin a cat in terms of medication, and meditation. There are many different ways you can approach it. Find a way that works for you. And like I said, now is a great time to explore all the many options that are out there.
That's right.
Yeah. So,
Erin, thank you so much for being with us tonight. And I think that a lot of people are going to get a lot of great value out of this. And please reach out. She's amazing. She's helping me. Please. I'm so excited. And
and if you guys want to email me and say, hey, this is a topic I'm meaning to send out or put something on Facebook, like what people want to know about. Like, cause like I said, I love to get on and chat and share my knowledge. So if there's something that you want to hear me talk about more, send me a Facebook message. Be like, hey, can you do a video on this? Happy to do it.
Awesome. Well, you're awesome. Erin, stay on. You guys have a great night. And remember,
thank you guys.
Nothing is, you can overcome anything. So what, now what, everybody? We'll see you next week.